My name is Paul Leverger. I'm Newzik CMO, and I'm very happy to be joining you today for a session on how to teach and collaborate with digital scores using Newzik and how, in general, technology can help music educators. So with me for this session today, I have the American pianist Hugh Sung. Hi, Hugh.
Hello, everybody. And it's pronounced Hugh.
Hugh. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. It's okay. The G distracts a lot of people.
Hugh is both a pianist and a music teacher in the US. Can you introduce yourself a little bit, Hugh, please?
Sure. Well, my name is Hugh Sung. I'm a graduate of the Curtis Institute of Music, where I was also faculty member there for 19 years. I left Curtis because I love technology, and I invented this hands-free page turning pedal with the very first one on the market called the AirTurn. And that's the AirTurn is one big reason why I got connected with Newzik. We can talk about that a little bit later. But I've been teaching only online, really, full-time in terms of my teaching capacities for the last 6 years. But I've had online content for the past 10 years or so. So done an awful lot. And Newzik has really done some amazing things to take my teaching, my online teaching, to the next level in many, many areas.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Well, I'm very proud about the fact that you like using Newzik, and I'm very happy that you can join me today to present this session and tell everybody what Newzik is about and how it helps you as a music educator. So let me give the audience a little bit of context about Newzik and what it is. So Newzik is a company that we started a few years ago with the idea to help all musicians rehearse, perform, and work on their sheet music by turning it into digital sheet music by integrating all this in a collaborative platform with lots of features to help them share their music in real time, share their markings in real time. So Newzik is like a Google Doc for sheet music, if you will. It's a software ecosystem where you can organize all your scores, all your library, but also your teaching material, or your lessons, the assignments for your students, and you can share all of this with them in shared folders where everything is accessible in real time to all the parties that have access to these folders. So Newzik has been pretty successful already since we started this adventure. Over 100,000 musicians have downloaded our iOS app on the App Store, and what I like the most about it are the ease of use of the interface, the intuitivity, as well as the fact that we are actually humans. We're not software developers, but we also talk to our users and provide a lot of customer support. So, and this is something that our audience really appreciates about the tool. But the real thing about Newzik is that in just a few years, we have managed to successfully help many orchestras and opera houses around the world transition to digital scores. We've also established partnerships with music publishers to develop a completely legal and secure pipeline so that they could distribute their digital catalog to the Newzik users directly in the app. So this is actually super convenient because it means that in the platform, you can go and buy quality content from music publishers and receive all of this instantly at a lower cost directly in the platform that you use for your scores. But Newzik has also been very helpful for music educators, and this is something that Hugh can testify about. Of course, 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone. A lot of musicians had suffered from the pandemic because they couldn't work, to put it simply. Many people experimented with live streams concert and try to find ways around the fact that all the venues were closed. And this has been pretty successful to some extent, but also a big problem for a lot of people. A lot of music publishers have also accelerated their transition to digital sheet music because of the lockdown. And of course, music teachers all had to learn how to work with Zoom. And I'm sure this is something that all the parties in the audience can relate to. Hugh, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience and why Newzik has helped you in regards to your music teaching?
Sure. So actually, I don't know if you want to put me on full screen because I can show you a little look at my teaching studio. As I've said, I've been teaching online for about 6 years through an online platform called ArtistWorks. Even before I started with ArtistWorks, I was creating online content through my YouTube channel and teaching people how to learn to play the piano and how to play Clair de Lune with a YouTube series called Clair de Lune from Scratch, which has been watched by several 100,000 people at this point. When the pandemic first started shutting everything down, my first concern as a musician, but also as a technologist, was to try to see if I can help my colleagues around the world to use the tools that I've been using for years. So I actually created a series of tutorials. Now, I actually also work with Cunningham Piano, which is based in the Philadelphia area. It is the oldest piano retailer in this area, but we were Yamaha's Dealer of the Year for last year. So we have tremendous access to some of the best pianos and the best music technology anywhere. So one of the things I did in collaboration with Cunningham Piano was to reach out to see if we could create these virtual ensembles. Now, of course, they're pretty common right now, but we were one of the first ones to try to go out and see if we can show musicians that even when we were in lockdown and couldn't leave our homes, we could still make beautiful music together. And so the first thing we did, I reached out to some of my colleagues around the world. We did a wonderful virtual performance of the Ave Verum Corpus by Mozart. But then we started thinking, we really want to get pianists, because piano players by themselves, they're used to playing by themselves, but wouldn't it be nice if we could get them all together? And this is where Newzik was absolutely critical to making this virtual project possible. One of the coolest things, and let me show you a view of my teaching setup. So here we go. I've got my little pedal cam here. Let me see if we have got that going. Here we go. Now you can probably see I've got this sheet music here. And what I did is I made an arrangement of this theme from Debussy's Estampes, Pagodes. And I made an arrangement that could be played together with the theme from Mulan. And this is from the Disney movie. And it's a little bit of a mashup that has 15 different parts that are broken up from simple to intermediate to more advanced. And the thing, you're not going to be able to hear the audio of this, but one of the coolest things that I'm able to do with Newzik was I was able to teach over 100 pianists from all over the world how to learn their parts with a combination of a video and the music that could be synchronized. In fact, let me see if I can go ahead and jump ahead a little bit. Let's see if we can do this. There we go. And once you play this, what's really cool is that the music will follow along with the video. Actually, let's go to the previous one over here. Anyway, and the other thing that's really amazing is the fact you have these liquid scores. Anyway, I'm jumping all over the place here. Let's try that one more time. Let's try this one more time. And let's do this over here. Okay. One more time here. Let's see if I can just get this. So it takes a few minutes for the video to catch up to the music after I'm explaining. But instead of me having to individually teach one person there at a time, everybody could download their parts, download the sheet music through the Newzik app, and that would automatically access them to these video tutorials that I created one by one. And this tutorial is pretty amazing because, as I said, it can synchronize, as you can start to see me playing to, here we go. Again, you're not going to hear anything through this particular setup, but when this works, so I'm going to just go ahead and pause this, the music will follow the video, and you also have these liquid displays. There we go. Take a look at this. Isn't it amazing? And it'll show the players where to play, combined with the video that I created, show them which notes to play, and you can change the size of the score. Not only that, but check this out. Here, let me see, I'm going to pause this video. Stop. I can also make markings on the score. And so the people can make their own fingerings, they can learn, and that's just one example of teaching people in the general public, people who weren't my students. Of course, with my personal students, as I said, I've been teaching online for the past 6 years and introducing more and more of my students to using Newzik, okay? And a little side note, I was actually one of the first professional musicians to go completely paperless 20 years ago. So I've seen the development of digital sheet music right from the infancy. And with Newzik, one of the coolest things has been the ability for me to synchronize my fingerings, my markings with my students' copy, so that, of course, they can watch the video of me teaching, and that's the main way that I teach. I primarily teach through these video exchanges through the ArtistWorks video exchange learning platform. So people watch me teaching through a video, and I see their videos showing me they're playing. And of course, they can see, as I've shown you, you can see a view of the music, the pedaling, and all that stuff. And this is how I teach, and they see all the sheet music happening. But what's really nice is that when they're not watching the video, they can still see the music as I've marked it, synchronize it right on to their own devices. So it reinforces the learning. They don't have, they can copy the fingering if they want, but seeing my fingering, and a lot of times my students will also write in their fingering saying, what do you think? Is this okay? And then I can interact with them both with the video, but also as if I'm over their shoulders writing and correcting their annotations as well. Just an amazing platform, making it easy for us to share libraries. And with hundreds of students that I'm teaching, you can imagine it gets pretty complicated keeping track of what each student is working on. Fortunately, let me see if I can jump into another view of an example of some of the things that I do. Let's take a look at this view over here. Okay. And so one of the things you can do in Newzik is I can create these set lists, but more exciting are these projects. So for example, I can take a look at this student over here, and these are all the pieces that he's working on, all kind of saved up. So I can keep track very easily and not get overwhelmed with the different students in terms of their individual libraries. I can also create set lists. This is another student who's working on a couple of things. And so, for example, here's an arrangement of clocks that I made for her. And her markings stay individual to her, all right? So this gives me tremendous flexibility and great organization, which is key, because when you're, if I should say, rather successful teaching online, and you start teaching hundreds of students, you want to make sure you don't get overwhelmed. And if I had to do this with paper music, there's just no way I could stay organized and I could teach effectively. But having all of my students' repertoire, literally thousands of pieces right at the tip of my fingertips and organized by student, just makes my teaching experience so much more effective, because I can focus on what the students need rather than the ancillary thing of where is that piece of music, or what do I have to remember in terms of this person. We can really focus on the musicality, helping the student to have the best experience possible. And in fact, I think one of the things I like to tell a lot of folks is the fact that I teach online exclusively, and I actually prefer teaching online and teaching digitally to teaching in person, because I feel like my students learn more effectively through the multiple camera angles, but now, especially with Newzik in particular, in terms of making the music clear to see. I'm a big proponent of using very bright colors. And here's another thing too. In fact, let me see if I can pull out a score of one of my students here. One of the cool things with my students is the fact that, let's go ahead and switch the view here really quickly. So when you're working on a piece of music, many times things can get really complicated. Let's see if I can get it. Is it this version? Oh, sorry. One more version here. Here we go, this one. So as you can start to see, the music starts to get really complicated pretty quickly, all right? As she starts learning more and more things, one of the things I can do is this is what the music actually looks like if you saw all the markings here. Look how complicated that looks, right? But as she gets better, she doesn't need to see the old things here. So you can see I can remove different layers, And now we're just focusing on what she needs to work on right now. And when she's ready and she's improved that part, we can remove that layer. And now she's got a clean piece of music. We can write new things to focus on other things. So that's another hidden feature that I think is absolutely very, very powerful in terms of making the teaching very, very effective. And especially, like I said, when you're working with a lot of students, they make progress, and you want them to focus on certain things and not be overwhelmed with the annotations. So the annotations are great, but they're also curated so that they only see what they need to see, and I can help them focus more effectively. There's so much into Newzik that I can get into. I mean, there's the fact that you can create these tutorial videos that people can follow and learn from. What a great introduction for setting up your own repertoire, your own teaching library for students around the world. So this is just a small example of some of the things that I do with Newzik with my students, literally all over the world.
Wow, this is amazing! Thank you for sharing this testimony, and what a great introduction to what we will actually be talking about in this section, during this session, which is Newzik Education, our latest offer, as well as Newzik Web, the tool that powers it. Hugh, you've been using Newzik on your iPad for years now, and you use it to teach kids and students the piano. But in my experience, one thing that I hear a lot from music educators is that an iPad is not an easy device to come by, because it's costly and not every student can afford it, nor every teacher for that matter. This is exactly the reason why we created Newzik Education. Newzik Education relies on a web platform, Newzik Web, which I'm happy to present to you for the first time today in this session. Let's jump right in. Okay. So let's jump right in. Newzik Web is our new web platform, and it's intended to solve exactly this issue that an iPad is a difficult device to get. It's expensive. So we thought it was especially important this year to develop this platform so that the Newzik technology could be available to anyone from any device. While you were presenting, we had a lot of questions about whether Newzik was available on Android, on a laptop, if there was a Mac version. So Newzik Web and Newzik Education is exactly the answer to this. It's a platform that you can access from any device whatsoever, from any web browser. It's a complete web and iOS collaborative ecosystem that allows you to teach, to conduct, and to rehearse your music. So let's go a bit more into the details of what you can do with it. So as we will see during this session, Newzik Education is a platform that is intended to let you organize all your ensemble scores, all your lessons onto the platform and save them to the Newzik Cloud, which is the underlying infrastructure that lets you access your account from any device. So just by logging into your Newzik account from any device, you can actually access your entire library wherever you are. The platform also lets you add audio and video to create interactive material, and this is exactly what Hugh just shared during his presentation. This is how he uses Newzik to create interactive exercises for his students. Once you have created this material, you can share those assignments in one click with all the students that you teach, and you can actually stay in control of what they can do with it, with access rights and restrictions. You can also use Newzik to keep track of your students' progress from anywhere, just by seeing all the videos that they will upload to the platform. And you can also access your student scores and add markings and comments in real time. So let's see how all of this works. So first off, with Newzik, you can upload new scores, lessons, and exercise to the platform at any moment in just one click. You can then organize all this music as you wish, using metadata, using tags, or create folders of pieces, set lists, and collaborative folders that we call projects, all of this inside the same platform. So let's see how it goes on the web platform. This is the library in Newzik Web. So with the little plus that you can see on the top of the screen, you can simply go and browse all your files. You could also just simply drag and drop files onto the platform, and this is how you import everything. When you import several files at once onto the platform, you can actually group them and create pieces that is made of multiple documents, so either multiple scores or different parts, but also audio and video files to create these interactive exercises. Once you have chosen your files, you can add a little bit of information about it, such as the title, the composer, or the artist. You can use all these fields as suit you. And you can directly add them to a specific set list or a specific project. Once you're finished, the new files are on the platform, and you can then go add further metadata to it, such as tags, and you can see all the different documents that make a part in Newzik. So this is super easy to do. This is super quick, and it lets you organize all your teaching material very easily. So the next thing I want to talk to you about are the set lists. This is how you can actually create folders of different pieces to manage your different teaching programs, your different schools that you work with, that you're affiliated to, but as well your own music to organize it in different folders by instrument, by style, by music genre, or for a specific project, say your next concert next week. Inside the set list, you have access to all the different parts. You can, when you create a set list, you can browse your library and simply add all these parts together. So this is very flexible. You can create this set list however you want, and you can do all of this later on as well, of course. So the second thing that you can do is add audio and video to create interactive exercises. Two things you could do here is simply record yourself from the devices that you own, or if you have Newzik app on your iPhone or your iPad, you can actually use the recorders that are accessible in the app and that we will soon add to Newzik Web as well, to record yourself. Once this is done, you can upload all these videos to a specific piece in the platform, and you can synchronize this with the score. This allows not only to augment the score itself and show your students how a specific exercise should be done, for instance, but it also lets you automate page turns if this is something you want. And not everybody will like this, but for many students, it's actually very helpful because it lets them concentrate and focus on the music itself and not have to turn pages manually while they go over the score. So to do this, once you can either upload a media file, or you can also access any YouTube video just by using the sharing link and put that onto the platform. So this is what an augmented score will look like in Newzik Web. You will have the score display in the background. You can actually put it in full screen as well, and you will have a video player that you can resize, that you can move around the screen as suits you. After this, what you can do is share all your scores and assignments in one click with your students, either by sending them a personal message, a one-to-one message. So for example, if you have a specific assignment that you want to send to one of your students, or you could also use what we call projects projects are basically shared folders or shared libraries where you can add all your students in them, and from the moment that you upload a score into a project, this score is accessible in real time to everyone inside this project. So you could use different projects to manage different classes or to prepare for the next concert with your band. And what is especially useful is that all the markings that you will add to the scores inside the project can be seen by anyone. So let's see how a project works. So this is how you share a piece. So you have different options. You could either use a shareable link that you can send via text or via an email. You can send an email directly from the platform, but you could also share via Messenger, via Twitter, and we will add other options later on. So this is a project that is used to manage a school band performance. You can see on the top right corner of the screen that this project has 7 members. You can add any member you want into the project very easily by using the little plus, and you can also manage who has access to the projects and what rights they have onto the project. So you could, for example, say that only certain people inside a project are allowed to upload files to this project. You could also restrict downloads. You can decide whether or not people can actually delete some pieces inside this project. So this is very helpful to stay in control. And this makes for a very flexible system where you can use this with your band and everybody has admin rights, or you can use it with a classroom with kids, and in this case, you might want to restrict some things inside the project. So projects are very useful because they let you see what your students are doing. You can ask them to record themselves and upload videos as they practice their exercises, and this lets you track their progress at any moment from any device. This is also very helpful because a project lets you give them personal feedback at any moment. Inside a project, you can actually access the scores and the layers that each of your students is using, and you can add personal markings and feedbacks based on the videos that they uploaded onto this project to give them advice on how to progress. So, for instance, let's take this score. And this is on the web platform. This is what the commenting section looks like. So you can actually go and create this sort of markings anywhere on the score that you want. You can, for now, add text, but we will add more options to this in a few weeks, with the ability to create personal videos, to embed a lot of things in these little notes. And then what your students will have to do to see this is simply click on the little box that displays on the screen at this time. Now, this is on the web platform, because if you use the app, you can also simply go and take your pencil and add handwritten markings, just as Hugh showed during his presentation at the beginning of this session. So Newzik Web is right now in beta version. It will be publicly launched in the spring, and a lot more features are coming up on the platform. The goal is to have the same features that we have in the app, and Hugh can testify that there are many features in Newzik at the moment. But we also want to make sure that all the features that we add to Newzik Web are relevant for music teaching. So I see that we've had many questions during the session regarding whether Newzik was a subscription or not. So let me clarify things a little bit. Newzik is a freemium platform, so it means that there's a free version of Newzik that lets you manage up to 15 scores at any given time in the platform for free, and you can use we call it Newzik Basic, and you can use this for as long as you want. This is something that a lot of music teachers use with their students, where the teachers will need to manage a larger library, and they get the Newzik subscription for themselves, but all their students in the classes can actually use the platform for free. We also have, so Newzik Education is also a plan that that we dedicate to music schools, where schools can get a custom pricing on premium licenses for all their students at a discounted price. So Newzik Education will have unlimited storage space for all the teachers and the students, so that all the scores, the method books, the audio and video recordings can be uploaded onto the platform. With Newzik Education, you will have unlimited shared folders, so unlimited projects to manage all your classes. You will have access to admin rights and access restrictions, as I discussed earlier, and also very importantly, you will have access to priority customer support and technical support, as well as a dedicated account manager for your school. So if you have any help, if you need any help getting started with using Newzik, or later on, later down the road, we will be there to help you. So I have the pleasure to invite everyone in this who attended this conference to actually go and try Newzik Education for free with your students by logging into this this URL. It's on our website, newzik.com/education. Well, you will be able, starting right now, to redeem this offer and try Newzik for as long as for free with all your students, with as many people involved as you want, until February 28th. The platform will be publicly released in the spring 2021, and I hope you will all join Newzik Web. So, Hugh, are you still with us? Yes. Perfect.
Yes. I'm just finally figuring out. I was at the opposite end of the chat. I didn't realize it was the opposite end, so I'm now seeing all these questions. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Oh, there's a lot of
questions for me.
Sure, I think that there's a lot of interest about how you actually live stream your videos. So you create all your exercises using Newzik, and soon you will be able to share all of them more easily with Newzik Web. But of course, Newzik Web is not a live stream platform. So which one do you actually use?
So my situation is a little different than most teachers. I know I've been teaching other teachers how to live stream, but I actually work on what we call an asynchronous teaching model, simply because it works best for my schedule, because I still have a full-time job representing Yamaha and Bissendorfer through Cunningham Piano. And I have students in all different time zones around the world. So for me personally, it's not very practical to have live lessons. Okay. Now, having said that, Zoom, in my opinion, currently has some of the best audio technologies in terms of allowing you to stream your audio at original quality. There's even a music setting, I believe, where there's no compression and your students can hear you at the highest quality, especially if you have good microphones. So far, I've been really impressed with Zoom. I think Skype also has those capabilities, although it's still, they haven't quite caught up to Zoom's ease of use for live lessons. But again, my setup is quite interesting. I can still teach a live lesson if I wanted to, but my setup is a little more complex, and if anybody is interested, maybe one of these days I'll come up with a new tutorial video to show how I can change my camera views, but also show this Newzik. This is what I find really, really fun, is when I can have Newzik on the screen as I'm teaching. Have my pedal cam, have my hand cam, being able to annotate the music as needed, while I'm teaching, while I'm demonstrating. Okay, and these are all possible to be streamed with Newzik at the same time. It just involves a couple more extra steps in terms of hardware setup, which I don't know if we want to go into that right now, but I think the important takeaway is not to get overwhelmed. These are new, powerful tools that make it more effective to teach, I believe, more effectively through the internet, reaching more people. And I know this is going to sound controversial, but I actually find that my online teaching is better than my in-person teaching, simply because the students, again, we can interact through Newzik. They have the markings right there. The interactivity that I can produce through Newzik's audio and video synchronization is very, very powerful. And of course, the organization features helps teachers stay on top of all the students' needs, saving so much preparation time, and just being able to go right in and work with students. And again, you can expand this to students all over the world. There's no geographical limitations in terms of sharing your ideas, your annotations, your instructions, and Newzik just makes this so easy.
I think this is very interesting what you're saying, Hugh, because in a way, would you agree if I said that Newzik has allowed you to bridge the experience or get the online teaching experience to the same level as your personal experience? Because since everything happens in real time, you're actually able to interact remotely with your students by sharing markings with them directly. So it's as if you were in the same room, even though you're able to teach someone that is on the other side of the planet.
That's very true. And in fact, I would say if I were to teach in a less sophisticated live setting, like here I've got multiple cameras, not every teacher is going to have multiple cameras. So what you're describing is a live lesson where I don't have to show my screen through the feed, but I can write the music and the student sees it right on their screen on their end. So in that use case scenario, Newzik is invaluable to keep the live interactivity available through a streaming live lesson. Now, having said that, of course, as I said, I'm asynchronous. I'm not live with most of my lessons, but I can still use Newzik very powerfully through my video productions, if I'm producing video teaching content, as well as through live sessions one-on-one with a student. Well,
thank you. There are lots of questions in the chat. I think there are two of them which I want to make sure I cover. The first one, very quickly, is what kind of file formats you can upload to Newzik, and this is very interesting because of course you can upload PDF to Newzik, and this is what most people will do. But Newzik also supports MusicXML format, which is a flexible format, and it's the one that you've been using, Hugh, the one that you called a liquid score, because it lets you not only zoom in and out of the score and recalculate all the display to make sure it's always at max display. So if a score looks too small for you, or maybe when you're teaching kids, you can actually go and augment the display.
Can I demonstrate this?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
So I think we're going through liquid display. This is one of the coolest things ever. A lot of people complain that if you're using a tablet, and this was my problem with digital sheet music in the very beginning, you can only see half a page of music. Well, what if you could resize the music? And I don't know if you can, whoever's controlling the presentation, can you put me on full screen, please? Because what I'm going to demonstrate is what we call this liquid display. This is truly amazing. All right, give me a second. We're almost there. There we go. Now, of course, I can use my turn pages this way. All right, here's the score here. But let's say I want to really zoom in. Look at this. Watch this in a second.
No, I think you need to deactivate your annotation layer.
Let me do right. Let's do another. Let's do no, not this one. There we go. Let's find another one. Let's try this one. Okay, here we go. So look at this. Whoa, I just resized the score and I just sing a few measures at a time. Now let's just kind of bring it up. Look at that. It automatically resizes and prints itself to fit the page perfectly. That's amazing. Now, especially with some students who have vision issues, you can zoom it and just look at it a measure at a time. Or bring it out. That's liquid display. That is absolutely game-changing for me and making it practical to use digital sheet music on a smaller screen. But of course, and of course I'm teaching too. If I want to zoom in on a problem measure, we can focus the student's attention that way by using that liquid display feature. And that's a unique file format. Maybe, Paul, you can talk about that.
Absolutely. This leverages the power of the format that's called MusicXML. It's not so as widely known as PDF, but it is actually a format that you can export from almost any notation software. So if you work with a notation software to create your exercise, maybe you've worked with Sibelius, Dorico, Finale, or MuseScore, or other notation software, you can actually go and export your files to MusicXML instead and import this into Newzik. And this will let you use this liquid display to adapt the display of the page at the level that you're comfortable with or that your students are comfortable with. But there is another super interesting feature with MusicXML that we have in Newzik, which is the ability to instantly transpose any score to any given key. Maybe Hugh, you can give us a demonstration of that. So it's just like, but with the touch of a button, you can choose the key that you're in.
Sure. Can you put me back to full screen? All right, let me go ahead and switch my view over here. Man, I love having a multi-camera view. All right, so help me here. I'm going to go over to the settings down here. Look at this. I'm going to change the key. Let's do this. Whoa! I love it. Now I can get rid of all the sharps. All right. That is so cool. You can transpose it. It's really like working with all the benefits of a word processor, right? Here we go. Different keys. Let's do E major. Let's bring it back to C major. Get rid of all those crazy flats. Instant transposition. Unbelievable. So much fun.
So I think we have only a little time left. So I want to make sure I also address another question that was asked in the chat, which regards how Newzik handles copyright issues with the different schools. So I want to make this very clear: is that Newzik works with music publishers, and we're creating with them 100% legal pipelines so that you can actually go into the platform and buy directly digital content from music publishers. You can actually buy multiple licenses to this content, which will let you use this content inside a project and share it with all your students. So the legal framework is in place to actually use Newzik at a professional level in an official school or something. And with regards to what individual users will use to the platform, the same laws apply as with any other sheet music. So I'm not exactly sure how it works everywhere on Earth, but the way it works in France and in most countries in Europe, and I believe it's the same in the US, is that when you buy your computer, when you buy your iPad, a small portion of the price that you pay actually goes to the copyright owners and compensates for the private copies that you will do with your own work. So a digital copy of your work, which you can then upload onto your platform and use for your personal use. This is not to say that you have the right to share it with anyone. But you actually have a legal right to do a digital copy of your work. At least that's the case in France and in most countries in Europe. So I don't know, Hugh, if you're aware of that in the US. I'm not.
Copyright issues are complicated subject, and I'm not legally qualified to perhaps speak on that subject. But I mean, I think the very least, seeing the initiative that Newzik is taking to create these relationships with some of the most major publishers out there is a tremendous step in the right direction. So
yes, and I think music publishers also are considering new models to deal with the innovation that's happening in the sheet music industry. One experiment that I want to share very briefly is about a program that we are trying out at the moment in partnership with Carl Fisher, so music publisher from the US, and we're actually trying it out with the Juilliard schools, in New York, where all the students at Juilliard have access to Newzik and can actually have access to all the Carl Fisher catalog, a digital catalog from the Carl Fisher website, and get a digital copy in their Newzik account. So this is an experiment. It's not to say that all publishers will adopt this kind of model, but at Newzik we are very happy about this experiment, and we think this is the way forward for the industry.
If I may just jump in, and this
Sure.
is all, you know, good complex legalese and stuff, but again, I'm just focusing on the fact that Newzik is creating these wonderful legal pathways for people and artists and creators and publishers and the whole ecosystem to benefit. I just wanted to speak very, very quickly before we run out of time. I'm a performer, I'm a teacher, I'm a creator. I'm also in the retail industry in terms of representing Yamaha and Busendorfer pianos through Cunningham Pianos. 2020 has been, I don't think I just say 2020, everybody's like, yes, we all know it's been a challenging time, but it's also been a miraculous time in this sense. Even as the world was shutting down, what I was seeing I'm just going to speak as a retailer and as an educator. I was seeing on the retail floor, people were buying pianos like crazy with nothing else to do, and with people, you know, just looking for something to fill their lives. Music became so essential. And as an artist, that was so inspiring, seeing that everybody needs music. And we basically sold out of our inventory of pianos, and people are still, I think the number one message is people are realizing music is necessary. And the field of music education is primed to explode. My personal school of online students basically doubled. So the need is out there. And if anything, this situation in 2020 has really hit home the folks that music is an essential need in life. So, you know, thanks to what Newzik is doing, thanks to the teachers that are out there that are willing to adapt to these new technologies, the need is great. There are more people who want to learn, who want to expose their kids to music, the wonderful benefits of having music in their lives. Don't worry about the profession. Don't worry about a career. Just a life essential skill, hobby, a creative endeavor. So many benefits that music. And I'm speaking to, you know, everybody knows these things, but I just wanted to just point out from the retail end, there's been a huge demand for music. And I'm so grateful for Newzik for making it easier for teachers to reach more and more students out there.
Well, I think this is the best way to end this session. Thank you very much for joining, Hugh. Thank you to all the audience who was here today. I hope this was inspiring to you. And I want to, again, invite you to actually go and try Newzik for yourself. You can log into our website at newzik.com/education and access the platform for free until the end of February with the code Tonara. So thank you, everybody. And I hope to see you in Newzik very soon.